Folks, welcome to Sports Chat. A lot to talk about today. Of course, Mike Hamilton has resigned, the NCAA investigation, and of course, new Campbell County head football coach Justin Price made his debut Friday. We're going to start, as usual, on the UT scene.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
The hearings, I reckon, are, from what I just read, are still going on.
The football portion's over. The basketball portion's going right now.
Yeah.
Football had 2 major violations, alleged. Basketball program 10. But on the basketball front, they took a lot of what would normally be considered secondary violations, and for whatever reason that really only the NCAA knows, decided they would make them major violations because that's how they do things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now with the football, of course, that came during the Kiffin days.
Yeah. Right. And as John mentioned, that portion is over. Kiffin declined to comment on anything.
By NCAA law, you're not allowed to comment.
Yes.
So
that apparently hasn't stopped Kiffin.
That's never stopped Lane Kiffin in the past.
Before.
Kiffin's a different man these days with all
the sword of Damocles hanging over his head.
But he was I think glad that the football portion was first, because he told ESPN that he wanted to get back to California before the day's camp was over.
I imagine he just didn't want to be a knocker before, certain people found out and came to kill him.
It was in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Where the NCAA headquarters are.
Well, that makes more sense then.
That's close enough to Knoxville.
Knoxville, Indianapolis, they're within hours of each other.
Same thing. But we'll see what happens. It should come out in the next week or two what the final decision from the NCAA. I imagine UT probably argued that, especially some of those secondary violations that were, for whatever reason, upgraded to major violation status.
And
for instance, one of them was supposedly the bump that Bruce Pearl had with the player, where he talked to a guy for like 2 minutes. And at a camp.
Also, the one with Kiffin, I mean, they're saying failure to monitor for Kiffin in his recruiting, but they have proof that the school actually told him to stop doing this literally right before these allegations came out.
I don't think this will be bad for the football side of things.
Could be bad on
maybe
basketball.
It could be a scholarship or 2 gone from football. Basketball maybe a little bit worse. It's just, according to how the NCAA is feeling on a given day. They have no set precedents or standards. Some teams can, kill people and get away with it. Other teams can't walk across the street.
So I guess we're still in a wait and see mode on this.
Other football, Montorie Hughes, he's been dismissed from the team apparently for grade issues. He was a defensive tackle, and we really... Of
course, that's our thin spot.
In there, but he's never really shown any willingness to improve or even be a good player. So I'm not sure how big of a loss it is. He was suspended half the year or more last year for different things.
So we probably won't even really miss him except in depth issues.
He was a huge guy. He had the body, but he just never seemed to have the drive or the anything else.
And also, I think kudos that they actually did bring down some heat to him for not fulfilling the student athlete, being the student, because it comes first. So I think that's good. We in the past, I think UT would probably ignored it and had someone else start taking his tests, but
you can't afford to do that when the NCAA's set up a field office and you're
no. But it has been known to happen.
Yes.
Jansen Jackson, good news with him. He may be back this year. Said he's going to re-enroll in school in June, I think, later this month. Maybe
the second summer term.
So, he would be a huge returnee. He had a lot of personal issues with his family. It caused him to drop out of school. Not clear on how his grades are going to stack up or how it is. From what I could read about it, it said it was actually better to have dropped out of school than to have continued in school and failed.
Well, I've had a few semesters like that.
Yeah. Apparently dropping out and re-enrolling was the best way to go about it.
He could have pulled the switch everything to audit trick. I mean, that's worked for certain people over the years. Wait, no, it really didn't work for him, did it?
No.
Oh, well, some days you wake up next to crazy.
Indeed.
Yeah. some days you're just crazy every day.
That's true. Of course, now Mike Hamilton's not athletic director anymore.
Well, he still is for another couple of weeks.
Right. Joan Cronin is the interim athletic director.
Not real big surprise. You know, he was essentially, he resigned technically, but I'm sure they said, hey, you resign or we're firing you.
Resign will give you this nice package.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him a nice package.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably, you know, it's not bad. Not many jobs you can resign from and get paid $1,300,000.
$1.3 million.
People are saying that Fulmer this, Fulmer that. God, I really have no idea why anybody would want Fulmer back as athletic director. His biggest weakness in coaching was managing his staff, hiring competent people for his staff. He refused to hire competent people.
And boy, he would protect the incompetence as long as he could, too.
I mean, you cannot run. That's the absolute worst trait in an athletic director. His biggest weakness was the most important job for the athletic director.
Well, apparently that was Mike Hamilton's big weakness too.
Hamilton was pretty spotty there.
You know, and you know, in Hamilton's defense, he wasn't all bad. I mean, made some major facility improvements.
Money-wise, he did an excellent job in his tenure as AD.
Here's the only thing I'll say about Hamilton as an AD, or a lot of other people. You're really sort of limited in what you can do.
True.
There are bigger people up the chain from you that make the decisions. For instance, Jim Haslett. That's why Mike Hamilton's gone. You have to have approval from Jim Haslett for anything to happen over there. You couldn't fire. You know, Hamilton wanted Fulmer fired. He wanted to fire Fulmer. They said it in 2005 after our disaster season where we went 5-7 and lost to Vanderbilt. And he should have been fired after that season. Ridiculous.
And Big Jim said no.
We were picked in the top 3 in the country coming into that season. Returned all those players off the team that won 10 or 11 games. Blew out Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl. Returned, you know, bunches of starters, everything. Come in just flat on your face. 5 wins, 7 losses, lose to Vanderbilt. But like Patrick said, Mr. Haslett said, nope, you got to keep him. We kept him.
And he is the head of the Board of Trustees. He is literally the man when it comes to UT, period. Not just athletics.
It's just the massive amounts of money they've donated over the years. And probably that will continue to donate. Right. He holds that much sway. Even the other big boosters who wanted Fulmer protected, some of them, no sway. You know, it's just what Haslett says goes.
Of course, now people talk Fulmer, and there's no reason you have to bring in Phil Fulmer, Johnny Majors, one of those guys to be UT's athletic director.
I mean, these days, modern athletic directors are business majors.
Right.
More, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, you know, sure, the coach was the AD. You managed the football program, loaded up the other teams with football players if you were Bear Bryant. You know, their Bear Bryant swim team, the Alabama swim team averaged 300 pounds. But they were Bear Bryant's offensive line. You know, they put the Bear Bryant rule in after that, though. It said only, you know, you had to play football. If you got a football scholarship, you couldn't be on scholarship for any other sport.
So, you know, that definitely changed the role of, especially how the football coach worked.
Yeah, so, but, you know, that was an older tradition of football coaches becoming athletic directors. It's been phased out a lot now, and you look around the athletic directors around the country, most of them, I'm not even sure that Hamilton, for instance, even played sports. He probably did. Most of them are business majors because you're dealing with massive money. You know, it's 9-figure corporations, basically.
Right.
High 8, low 9, that's hundreds of millions of dollars you're dealing with.
And during, we kind of hit on it earlier, during his tenure there, he went from just bleeding money to making money. So
yeah, I mean, you know, that was his job, was fundraising for the most part. You know, I say you got to hire a coach. I'm not sure how much is his ultimate decision, but he's ultimately the one that takes the heat.
But he's going to be the spokesmouth of it.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you know, he takes the heat for it. He made some. The biggest complaint I had with him was that it appeared that he let Mike Slive run over him, and like bowl committees. If there ever came up, even if Tennessee had a better record the last 5 or 6 years under Hamilton, 8 years or whatever, we had a better record than somebody, they still got the better bowl a lot because Hamilton
Weak sauce.
just would let them. You didn't see Florida's athletic director or anybody like that allowing that stuff to go on. You got to have a strong. You didn't see Doug Dickey allowing that to go on. I didn't like Dickey. He sold us out and went to Florida before I was born, but I still didn't like him because of that. But he didn't let people run over him, at least.
That's true. And one more thing on the UT athletic front, it appears that Serrano is in Knoxville today.
So that's he's a really good coach, and it'd be really great to get him. But God Almighty, how can you take the job at this point? You don't even have the athletic director know who you're going to work for.
That's true. And, with Cronin as associate or as interim athletic director, she's really a figurehead for the time being.
She's essentially retiring here in the next couple of months, and they're merging the athletic departments like they probably should have always been. Because
we were one of two. Us and Texas were the only ones that had the two separate athletic
basically
departments.
been people in the women's athletic department making lots of money over the years, and you really don't need two athletic departments. Just combine them into one. No need for two athletic directors. That's millions of dollars really it's cost UT. So we're going to combine them back into one, and whoever this new director is, in speculation, it's the athletic director of Louisville. Some speculation it's the athletic director of Boston College. Have a few Tennessee ties, but who knows? We'll see who it goes, and say whoever has them wants.
That's who it's going to be.
Probably the two will be from the coaching pool.
Now, briefly in this segment, on the NFL front, mediation is reportedly going well.
Yeah.
The lockout could be ending soon.
Well, I really hope that it does. I'm not going to hold my breath that they'll get it before the season ends because it's always those final sticking points.
Right. We mentioned last week the camp season for the NFL teams is fixing to start. When they start doing their camps,
It starts late June, early July.
Is starting to come up. So
I was on Facebook the other day. Someone said, "I'm so ready for the Locker era to begin for the Titans." I'm like, "Well, you may be waiting for a while, because as of right now, there is no NFL for his era to begin."
God Almighty, I wouldn't be waiting on that either. To tell you the truth, you never want to be waiting on your some rookie QB to come in. Even if they play this year, he may take over halfway through the season. They may throw him out there. I can't imagine they would, because he had some issues with accuracy in college, especially accuracy if he stayed in the pocket. He was decent when he was scrambling, but you can't get away with a lot of scrambling in the NFL if you're a drop.
No, those defensive ends especially will.
That's the ends, the linebackers. Everybody's so much faster in the NFL. His completion percentage was in the low 50s, I believe, which that's why everybody was shocked the Titans picked him.
I didn't quite understand what they saw and liked about him, but apparently there was something. Who knows? Of course, Vince Young had everything going for him physically, and right here,
Vince was just a little bit of a head case. He never was a great throwing quarterback, but he managed to win a lot of games. But it just never worked out well for him and the Titans, so who knows? Maybe he'll be like Vic and stay out a few years and come back and just have a dynamic season.
You never know. I mean, anything is possible in the NFL.
sure.
Fans, we're going to go ahead and call this segment to a close. Come back, we're going to talk about Cougar football, some Cougar and Lady Cougar basketball, but most importantly, we're going to talk about Justin Price, new head football coach. We'll be right back.